All right, I've just popped you both on mute. Just okay. Here we are. How to overcome procrastination and regain your motivation. Now, this look, I've made it sound really easy, and I'm just going to go into it and say it is not easy to come out of procrastination if it's a coping mechanism that your nervous system is used to going in. So it's like a default that we may go in. Now, what I want you to notice, there will be certain things you'll procrastinate with and other things that you don't procrastinate with. For me personally, when I was starting to work on my own business and for myself, I would procrastinate on those things over working for a company. So working for someone else, I could show up every day, even when I was tired, I would show up for them. But when it came to my own work, I would find that my nervous system would go into a shutdown, and it would I would be exhausted, and I just didn't feel like doing my own work. I didn't feel like doing it. So that's where I noticed I procrastinated. The reason I bring that in is just noticing for yourselves, whoever's watching this, as well as you, Kate and Sophia, where it is that you procrastinate the most. Like even like, where do I procrastinate? What is it that I procrastinate on? What is it and why do we do it? Now, procrastinating, let's say in the subtle form of it. So I'm going to say on a scale. If I procrastinate on something like cleaning the house, that's just a job that I don't necessarily enjoy doing. I can't outsource it, so I've got to do it myself. Like one of mine's like folding clothes. So clearly I'm not fearful of folding clothes, but there's something there that I just don't like doing it. And I don't feel the need to overcome that procrastination anytime soon. So when we think about procrastination, I want you to think more about it towards your goals, your what you want to work towards in business, relationship, in career, that sort of thing, or in health as well. Many of us have fitness goals and things like that. So think about it more towards those side of things. Yes, it can be if you do have challenges tidying up the house and stuff, and it gets to a point where it is too much. That is absolutely a goal as well. Is so like I had a goal to clean the garage, and I had procrastinated on it. But then once I was doing it and I completed it, I really felt pride, and I was like, look at how organized I am. So it had flow-on effects, positive flow-on effects. So what we want to look at is what would be the positive flow-on effect if I wasn't procrastinating on this thing as well. Usually it's resistance. So what procrastination is there's a part, this is where parts work comes in, and inner child work. And this is why many coaches or therapists use that modality too. It's because there's a part of us that's in resistance to the thing that we want to do. So there's one part that's like, I would love to do that as a career. I would love to have to achieve those health goals. And then there's another part of us that is resisting it. And until we explore that other part that's either fearful or has limiting beliefs around it or core beliefs, it might have a story there. So this is generally the subconscious part that's resisting the change, that's resisting getting that result. And usually comes down to fear. So our nervous system goes into fight, flight, or freeze response. And it's an activation. With procrastination, you would start in fight, flight, then you go into freeze because it's a hierarchy generally in those spaces. Freeze is where procrastination lives, when we get stuck in it. And when it kind of becomes chronic, that's where I believe we can go into more of a depressive state, because when procrastination becomes chronic, we're kind of reinforcing these belief systems, and it gets amplified and worse because the very thing that we want to be doing, we're not doing, and then we feel shame for not doing it. So then it just seems like we kind of just like feel like we're almost getting like we just can't get up, we can't get out of it. So it's this stuck feeling of just not being able to be motivated. So that's where we probably fall more into a depressive state with it. So I've got here fight mode, where you'll notice that you feel frustrated, irritated, critical about doing the task. Then the flight mode may come in, so avoiding the task entirely, social media, cleaning, I mean, I think many of us can, really relate to these examples. Um, Something that I do is my flight response would be going on adventures. So a while back, instead of growing my business, I would go out on hikes, and because it was healthy, I was like, it's fine. I don't need to do that other thing. But I loved going exploring and on adventures, and in a balanced way, that is very helpful. Freeze mode, so we can feel stuck, zoning out, overthinking, and self-critical, and we do this instead of taking action. So on the nervous system ladder, it does live down in the shutdown response, but you would probably go through these different areas first: fight mode, flight mode, then freeze. So how do we shift it? And I am making it sound simple, but it's not easy. So the way we shift it is I always focus on my nervous system when I'm in procrastination or shutdown. Now, depending on what trauma you've had growing up, depending on how you were treated when you were in shutdown as a child, will depend on your ability to create space between your mind and um, your nervous system. So, what I mean by that is, for me personally, when I'm in shutdown, I can identify it really well, and I can identify the thought processes that come in, and I know not to connect with it and not to attach to those thoughts and respond from that place. For me, when I'm in that shutdown and procrastination, I feel heavy. I feel as though my mind starts telling me things like self-pitying stuff, and it's very much around food for me, which I found out, where it was like, oh, you should just go treat yourself with some food, or like it goes into a bit of a self-pity sort of state of trying to um, make me do things in a way that are not really self-loving. And I noticed that, I actually noticed that really recently, because had my observer on really well at one stage, and it was so interesting, the sort of thoughts that were coming in around my shutdown. And so our insecurities come up and all that sort of thing. So the thing that we need to do when we're procrastinating, it's not to bulldoze ourselves and push through and just get it done. It's actually to shift our nervous system. And that is in a gentle way, because at the bottom of the ladder is the shutdown. And in order for us to come back up, we are actually the most vulnerable at the bottom of the ladder. When we're in shutdown, we are fragile, vulnerable, and feeling quite, well, there's self-pity, we're feeling quite sorry for ourselves down there. So the last thing we want to do is push ourselves out of it and force ourselves to get out of it through shame. We want to bring in nurturing activities to shift our nervous system. And we want to also think about it as our nervous system, not attached to our stories. So nature, breathing, softness and rest, talk to a friend, use movement, and observe the negative self-talk. This sounds very easy, I know. It's super important to get to know your process and to understand that it's a simple thing to shift your nervous system, but it's not easy. It's a practice. It's a practice. So first one I wanted to bring into is support. When we're in a shutdown response or procrastinating, which is a shutdown response, the reason why support is crucial is because we need co-regulation to come back up the ladder. Generally, we want to isolate when we're in shutdown, but the thing that we really need is support and co-regulation. So here I've got work with a therapist, and this is because when we're in procrastination, and when I talk about procrastinating, many people on the surface level think, oh, it's just because you don't want to do it, or it's just that you're being lazy, or whatever, these ideas are. What I truly believe it is there's a vulnerable little part of us that is resisting the process. So doing inner child work, or any sort of modality that goes deep into the subconscious, can support you to get the information that you need to hear, because procrastination is a signal for further information. It's an activation. Anytime we have an activation, whether it's anger, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, there's information, and there's a part of you trying to come through. So what working with a therapist does, or a coach, or whoever you go and see, whatever professional, they will help you go to the root cause of why you procrastinate on that certain thing. Seek a friend. So the other thing is having a buddy system. This is the most important thing, I believe, when we're working towards goals that we've never worked before towards. But you want the buddy to also be striving towards their aspirations as well, because if you have a buddy that's not, what they will do is they will not know how to lift you up out of shutdown, and they may without realizing, and you might also do it too, is you may bond over it being so hard, and that's trauma bonding. So if we pick a friend that's not really working towards their own goals, that's kind of just passive in life, that's not really sort of stepping out of their comfort zone, they won't be able to relate to you and what you actually need when you're in shutdown. So finding a buddy who's also seeing a therapist or has a coach or has goals that they're working towards, maybe they're similar goals to you. For me, when I was studying, I have a friend that I still speak to this day. She lives in New Zealand, and we are buddies because we work in the same industry. So we support each other. When I'm down, I'll call her and she'll lift me up, and vice versa. So having people even in the same industry in what you're trying to achieve, or similar things, or even just aspiring to achieve whatever they want to do, that is actually what's going to support you. And that's a free support. You don't need to pay for that. The thing that you can do though in that space is making sure that you both have an even energy exchange. So if I have a friend that's supporting me and I support them, when I get off the phone to him, I feel good about myself. That's how I know that the energy exchange is even. I feel I can be my authentic self. I can say whatever's on my mind, and I know that they won't shame me or shut me down. So it needs to be a healthy relationship too. And this is something, if you don't have right now, is when you go do courses or anything where you go to events or workshops uh, and meet people, you'll find someone that you gravitate towards and build a friendship with. And that's probably where you may find this person to be your buddy. So it might be a process, and it might be a goal to, explore that space too. Create support around you, paid and free. So support, as I've said, is quite important. Work with the resistance. Okay, so on one end, I want you to both think about, whoever's watching, what is it? Where am I now? Like, where am I now factually in comparison to where I want to be? So this, let's say I want to create my own business. So I don't have my own business. I'm working part-time or full-time for another company. I have an idea, but I don't know how to execute it, or, just write down where you're at, where I'm at now. So being really honest with yourself. Then you can write down all the limiting thoughts and beliefs that come up around that. Just like jot all those down, because those are part of the resistance. As you can see, the arrows going that way, because there is resistance to you getting what you want. And this is where procrastination comes in, because if that resistance there, it's causing heaviness, it's causing a shutdown response, it's causing a lot of energy going towards that resistance rather than momentum towards what you want. So anytime we procrastinate, it's a resistance to getting what we want. There's a part of us that feels scared, fearful, or just doesn't believe that it's possible, or maybe doesn't even want to do it. There might be a part that doesn't want to do it at all. So become curious about those parts and the beliefs that we have around it. And just bringing curiosity. Oh, that's interesting. I have that belief. I have this belief, and doing some belief work around that, which you could probably do with your therapist as well. What is resistance? I think I've already answered that. So yeah, resistance is opposing thoughts, behaviors, subconscious beliefs against what we want. So what you want to do is take one step at a time. And I know you've heard me say this probably a few times before, but what I mean by this is, if you're thinking about say if you are thinking about creating your own business and you don't have a business at all at the moment, you're working for another company and you're just at the very beginning. To think about owning a business, seeing clients and having it all up and running with a website and all these other things, like even me talking about it, it feels overwhelming. Like it's like, whoa, that's a lot. So what you want to do is have that big goal and almost like put it just to the side for a bit to then come to the one step at a time. These steps need to feel light, doable, and heading towards the outcome you want. So it's trusting that these steps will get you to where you need to be. And this is the tension bit, holding the tension. Because for me to trust that I'm going to get the outcome by doing these little steps, I need to stop and celebrate when I achieve it. Also, collect the evidence of how these small steps are getting me to where I want to be. And this is like holding the tension to get there. A lot of us want to skip and go all the way to the outcome. And sometimes money, say it's like you won the lottery or something, that might get you all the way to the end of the outcome. You get your website, you get a business coach, you get all these things. But what happens is your mind and body and nervous system haven't caught up. So a lot of people sabotage their businesses or their whatever they've created because your nervous system hasn't caught up to the practical things that you've created. So by doing one step at a time, what you're actually doing is you're taking steps in alignment with yourself, with your authentic self, with your nervous system, with your what you can handle stress wise. So you're not bypassing. So this is the benefits of just going, okay, one step at a time. And it's sustainable, not only sustainable, it's more in alignment. You'll make less mistakes. You'll attract more people who are in alignment as well and who want to maybe purchase from you or whatever it is. You'll attract more like-minded people around you because you are slowly taking one step after another. And you don't want to feel heavy when you're taking these steps because generally that's where we're pushing through the resistance and leaving a part of us behind. So when you feel light and it's doable, that's where you've heard that part that's maybe scared and it's like, oh, can we just take one step at a time? Can we just do this first because that makes me feel safer, and then from there we'll go to the next step and to the next step. Okay, we all have resources, and this is the interesting thing, and I've said this before, is to use your resources. I have clients who are NDIS funded, and I have clients who fund themselves. I know people who have partners who help them fund therapy with me. So there's all these different resources. There's one there that I've got is intellect as well. If you are like genius level or not even like even just intelligent and you know that you can work part-time in a job and make fairly good money to help you get to where you want to be, that's a resource. So anything that you can create to help you get to where you want to be is a resource. It's just how we think about it. So a lot of people might feel selfish if they're in partnership and they're using the income to go to therapy. And those limiting beliefs are what hold us back. So this is where we need to think, okay, how do I need to back myself and how do I need to do it in alignment so I'm not bulldozing through and maybe like spending thousands of dollars on something that I don't know, that makes me feel very anxious. But how can I do it in a way that's good for both of us or for myself and the part of me that's feeling insecure or unsafe? So it's really starting to look at resistance everywhere because it's going to be everywhere. Resistance also comes in with us using our resources, and that's what I wanted to bring in here. So for me to get to where I am today, I worked part-time at a mental health retreat, and not only did that support me to be here on the Sunshine Coast, but it also, my growth working there with all different types of people was so huge. So it was in alignment with my business. That's the other part of it, is if your resource, if possible, can be in alignment with your business too, that's even better. But you can use that as, okay, maybe I just need a stepping stone to get to that part first. So I didn't have that job when I moved up here. I didn't have a job at all when I moved to Sunshine Coast. So I took the risk. I'm a little bit of a risk taker like that. And then from here, I started looking for work because I wanted to live in this location. And then I found my job. So there are different ways we can do it. It depends on you and your nervous system. It's a very individual approach. The other part I wanted to bring in is many of us, when we're working towards a goal and procrastination comes in, what we can be is really hard on ourselves. And the reason why we can be hard on ourselves is growing up, our caregivers may not have known how to motivate us and may have instilled some really negative beliefs around who we are if we're not productive or motivated. And so part of stepping out of your comfort and achieving a new goal is encouraging yourself in a way that you were never encouraged when you were young. So, how would I encourage a little child that was trying a new sport? How would I encourage my best friend? How would I encourage the vulnerable part of me? And that's what I would start to think about, is like, what are affirmations for yourself about what you know about yourself that can support you? Here are some examples. You are safe to start small and build from there. So, just saying those little statements, you can always return to support when needed. You're strong enough to handle discomfort and continue. Mistakes are okay. You can adjust and try again. So these might be just words for now, but this is something that you can, through therapy or through your own journaling, you discover your own encouraging words and reaffirm those and bring those in when you're feeling, when you're procrastinating. You could go, okay, you have a rest now and just go outside and ground yourself on the grass. And that can be your goal for today. Like, and that's okay. Sometimes we can go slow. So it's like just really encouraging yourself. And I always say it like, how would you talk to a friend? Because many of us would talk to our friends a lot kinder than how we would talk to ourselves. This is a lot more important than what we think, too. The reason being is when we're young, we needed encouragement. It's actually a human need of ours as a child to need encouragement. So, words of affirmations, but not only that, to have someone behave in a way to lean in a helpful way when we're doing something hard or when we feel scared to do something. And then presence is the other thing that we need to. So when we're exploring in our life, exploration is working towards a goal, trying something new, um, whatever it is that we're going into, our exploration, we really need encouragement and presence. So as adults, because as children, we may not have got that as much as we needed. As adults, we need to give that to ourselves too. So we've got the encouragement part that I just spoke about. Then you want to also be present with yourself, because that is another need as a child that we needed from our parents. And if we didn't get that much as children, which is why we may procrastinate more than other people, we then need to re-parent ourselves in that space of being present. So I'm here to support you, like a safe base. That is like if I was talking to that vulnerable part of me where I was doing something scary and there's a part of me that's like, oh, you're going to be exposed. It's going to be, what if people judge you? You can be present with yourself and slow down and listen to that part that's scared. So that is like a parent coming in and sitting with their child while they are doing something really difficult, just being present with them and attuned to them. So it's the same thing for us as adults. We need to also do this for ourselves. Even like talking to us, like, you've got this, trust yourself, I'm cheering you on, you can explore and I'll be here when you need support. So yeah, it's same thing around, how would I sit with a friend if they were doing something hard? Would I go and watch them and look into their eyes and be like, you've got this, keep going, I'm here if you need, I'm present. You wouldn't be looking at your phone, you'd be looking at them and what they're doing and watching them. Oh, got 2 slides of that. So just in summary, because I know I share a lot of information, is there's practical strategies you can do for when you're in procrastination. So regulating your nervous system and riding the wave once you've done that. So what I mean by that is you might not, once you've regulated your nervous system that day that you're procrastinating, you might not be motivated straight away to make any decisions around or take action. But what it will do is it's self-care. So regulating your nervous system, and it might take a day to then the next day you have that night you have a good sleep because you've regulated your nervous system, and then the next day you may feel a glimmer of motivation. So it's just testing your own process in that. Paid support, so working with a therapist, so working through the resistance, going deep, and having an encouraging presence. So you don't want when people are doing exercise and they have coaches, you really don't want a coach that's going to shame you into losing weight or coming to the gym and pushing through, getting over it. I mean, coaches are there to be like, you've got this kind of thing, but you don't want to feel shame with it because many people have been taught to achieve goals through shame. And this is where when I'm working with people, we really identify where that part of us that feels shame wants to come out and achieve this goal. And generally, it's like the part that wants to bypass. It's the part that goes extreme into a goal. So it's I know people who will go on crazy diets and crazy exercise things just to achieve a certain goal, but what happens is there's a vulnerable part of us that's left behind. So it doesn't last. It doesn't last, and it doesn't feel light and enjoyable. It feels heavy. So what we want to do is work on those deeper things so we can work towards our goal from a place of presence, encouragement, growth, and not fear. Free support, so your accountability partner and support where you get mutual growth, where you both are going towards something, and then positive self-talk, which I just spoke about. And that is the summary for today. As per usual, sharing a lot of information. Who would like to start with some coaching, or maybe you've got a question or something you would like to share? Maybe even your insight from today's educational piece. Sophie's waiting for Kate. Kate's waiting for Sophia. Who's going to press the button? Go for it, Kate. I'll ask to unmute you.
I think I did it.
There we go. You did it. You did it.
I must be. I think I might be in procrastination or something. I'm like,
okay.
Well, I think, yeah, I'm trying to gauge where I'm at, but my mind's like, I don't even know what my goals are. Like, and I'm a very goal orientated person, but that's what my brain's like, I don't know, like what I'm doing. Just a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so.
Okay. So can I ask you some direct questions so we can just explore what stage you're at? Okay. So what's happening in your body at the moment?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess today I felt fairly unmotivated. Well, I'm pushing myself. Oh, there you go. Pushing myself to do things. And it's really windy. The last 2 days have been really windy, and I hate wind. I find it discombobulates me. I feel unmotivated. Slightly I thought I just got really tired, but I guess I feel unmotivated. To start things. Once I get going, I'm okay. But it's very slow to start today, and then yeah.
So if I was to ask you and just see what comes up straight away, what do you need right now?
Rest.
Okay. So you need rest.
Maybe.
What thoughts come up that oppose you having rest?
You need to get things done.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm procrastinating or I'm just giving myself. I'm such a whoop inside. It's like I'm giving myself a rest. Am I procrastinating? Am I just like, should I be giving myself a rest, or am I a dorsal vagal?
Well, it sounds like, and this is what's come up because I know that you're a doer, and this is why it's good to know your experience, your individual process. For you, it's resting that is more needed because you do create. You are a creator. Like you kind of go into the fight
I
flight more
need to be
than
really on, or sometimes it's off and nothing happens too, and then I feel like I'm procrastinating. So, but yeah,
yeah. Well, what would happen if you rested?
the world would end.
Ah,
Mm. You know, I'm
okay.
just answering from that place where you're like, you just answer stuff and not thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. The world would end.
I'll be homeless.
Homeless.
Mm.
Right?
I am actually slowing down a little bit, I've got to say, from the last few weeks.
Yes. Okay, so would you say that your goal would be more around resting?
A goal. That's never a goal. That's in the way of my getting my goals done.
Do you think there's any benefit of resting?
No,
Okay.
no. Yes, I believe that that means that you would be more clear on what you're doing, and you're
Oh,
not
there you
wasting a bunch of time doing silly things and hurting yourself when you're tired.
go. Okay.
You can end up. I find when I used to bulldoze myself,
Yep.
I would end up kind of 10 steps forward and sorry, like 2 steps forward and then 20 back. I'd be like, I've just done all this and it's all terrible or something like that. It's all wonky or like, you know what I mean? I'd push myself to get that job done, whatever it was. If it was building or whatever. And then I'd be like, that's terrible. I could have just had that rest I needed. Yeah.
Okay.
Something
So
inside me says you shouldn't be tired.
you shouldn't be tired. You just work yourself to the bone.
Well, I rested yesterday.
Rest. What did you do yesterday to rest?
I did a little potting and then I like read a book and I like napped and stuff. And yeah.
Okay. So today, do you feel like you had enough rest from yesterday?
Well, no.
No.
Well, I still feel tired. Mm.
Okay. What would be okay, so we're going to do one step.
Oh,
What would be comfortable enough, because we won't go deep into it today,
yeah.
one step that gives you rest, but it's not overwhelming your system where you feel like you should be doing something, but it gives you a little bit of rest.
Well, I don't know. Like I like go and pop seeds because that's kind of
Yeah.
restful, but I'm achieving something.
Is that like, do you believe that? Are you happy with that?
Well, not really. It's not. You still got to do stuff. I'm not always doing something.
But
I don't
is
know.
that potting plants, is that like do you have a light pull towards that when you think about potting plants? Are you like, I could do that?
Yes, but I
Ah,
also feel like if I'm doing that, I should just be building the house.
because that's the resistance that's coming in. But here's what I that's your one step. So your one step is potting plants.
I don't want to. Someone's like, no way, man. And
Ah,
something's whipping
there's
me. I should go. It's like I feel this like it's like you're going back out there and you're getting those windows in. Yeah.
okay. What would be the step before that then?
Well, I went in there and had a little look-see do and cut one piece of wood. I don't know. I've probably already done a day's work already.
Ah, So you've done a day's work already.
Well, maybe, I don't know. I've been out there doing things. Yeah.
Okay. So potting plants it is.
Doesn't. Oh,
What do you notice when I say that?
stress, like it's never going to get done. It's all on my shoulders.
So your tension that you are holding is that if I don't do it now, it's never going to get done.
Correct, because of procrastination. I believe that I procrastinate so much that, yeah.
Do you actually procrastinate?
I would say so. I think so, yeah.
Because from what I know, I don't know if I've known you to be someone that procrastinates.
I do on certain things. Yep.
What do you procrastinate on?
Making phone calls. Yeah, I was thinking of it. There are things, but then perhaps I wonder if the things that I procrastinate about are things that I shouldn't be doing, and that's why I procrastinate. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn about procrastination because I used to just chastise myself for it. And I don't need to hog the show, by the way, here. I used to really put myself down for it because I wasn't getting stuff done. But I think what is procrastination, I guess, and as it might just be me trying to have a rest, like, or that thing that I'm trying to bulldoze myself into, maybe not the right thing. So it's really interesting. And then I see procrastination as a very negative thing, and it's something that is a weak in my belief is that if I'm not getting that thing done, then that's a weakness.
So that's
Procrastination is a weakness.
I'm glad you brought that in. Okay, so what we would
It's
do.
very negative. It means that you are not disciplined enough, or you know what I mean? If you're procrastinating about if you're not getting something done.
So this is good because you're bringing the other side to it in where you bring yourself out of procrastination by working really hard in a more anxious state and pushing yourself.
Yeah, and so like it's not enjoyable. Yeah, I'll get things done in a flurry, but
so what I wanted to bring in, because for people watching as well, is that the other side of this is procrastination that keeps you in a shutdown. So what you just described
is either I'm all on and anxious and doing stuff, or I'm completely shut down and probably feeling very depressed that I'm not achieving and sleeping.
So for today, we're just going to finish up. What could you do knowing this information and knowing that procrastination, rather than judging it, but being a signal and we can observe it from that point of view?
Isn't it? It's a signal that I need to slow down and have a look at and ground. Slow down.
Love it.
Ground. And what do you call it? You always say investigate. You have a word for it.
Get curious.
Get curious.
Get curious. Yeah. Amazing. Yay! Love it.
Because I think, I just saw procrastination as a great defect in me. It's like they'd be like, "Oh, I can't make that phone call today. I'll do it the next day." Well, it'll be a goal or something that I'm wanting to achieve, but I'm like, I can't, like making that phone call. I'm too scared. Say even a job interview, asking for a gig, or I don't know, anything.
Yeah. I think it could be layered, and that's exactly, you're right. Like it can be not making that phone call because it's scary and you're too nervous to make it. It can be many things. So, I like how you brought in how you've got a negative association, because once we remove that negative association, but obviously doing therapy and doing some other things and tools. And
something else I've just forgot what you said that was really, really, really interesting.
Yep.
Damn it. There was something that I was like, yes. Oh, I can't remember. There was like.
Did you write?
Oh, not well enough. I can't remember. There was this really good thing that you said that I was like,
Maybe if you remember, pop it in the comments. All right, what I'll do is head to Sophia. So great work, Kate.
Yep.
Love your work. Slowing down and grounding. Love it.
Good luck. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Sophia.
Thanks for sharing, Kate. That was good. Um, what do you want to know?
What? So, we heard Kate's experience of procrastination. What's your experience of it?
Yeah, I wrote, that was really good. Thank you, Thelma. I think I know my procrastination comes in when I'm in fight flight or when I'm in shutdown mode. And it's a big part of me that takes over. But I kind of feel like it's not like the thoughts and beliefs behind it aren't even mine, they're other people's. And so I feel like for me, procrastination is like, it's my mindset. It comes through in my fears, my thoughts, and like beliefs as well. Yeah, and
Yep.
I know it comes through when I want to do something that's going to support my growth.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and I just feel like other people's thoughts and beliefs and maybe their voices or yeah, they come through and they can kind of take over my thought patterns and reinforce, like you said. And so then that stops me because it's like this like roadblock. But I feel when I'm like in a calm state in the green, I actually can push through those.
Ah,
I
yes.
know that
Yeah.
I am driven and I can achieve things and yeah, work towards my goals. But yeah, it's just about for me it's about getting past yeah, what other people and their opinions or their additions maybe when it comes to being open and vulnerable.
I love what you said about when I am in the green, I can move through those a lot easier. And this is, you know, how I said my first point was like change your state, change your nervous system, get your like come back up the ladder. So that
Yeah.
is what you just said is exactly why I say that, because when we're in fight, flight, or shutdown, we're more vulnerable. We actually, on like even on a deeper level, I
Mm,
believe when we're in fight, flight, or shutdown, we're actually in our little vulnerable, kind of like childlike self. So to fight back on those thoughts or other people's doubts and fears is really difficult when we're in that state.
yeah. And I feel like I can't do that until I work myself up the ladder. But it's something
That
that, yeah, I'm practicing and I have realized, yeah, over time and with all the knowledge and learning and teachings and stuff. So yeah, and I know that procrastination for me will come through when I am starting to work on some things that I want to like bring into my life. But I
yeah,
think
yeah,
just observing it is going to be key. Yeah.
absolutely. And what I'm wondering too is how do you get yourself back up the ladder? What are your tools?
Well, I feel like I've had a bit of a turnaround. I would usually just shut down and isolate, and think that the world is against me and I've just got myself. But yeah, it's about reaching out to the right people and yeah, slowing down and taking rest without feeling guilty and not go, go, go. And just kind of trusting the process and yeah, that there's no kind of rush. I guess just reinforcing the new beliefs.
Right.
Yeah. And I
And
can say
it's
all this because I feel quite regulated. But it's a different
yeah,
story when I'm down there. Yeah.
definitely. And this is though why I actually have this rule where when I'm down in shutdown or fight flight, I have a rule that I don't create from there. That's my
Yeah.
rule. So what I do, I actually take myself for a walk, or take my dog for a walk, or I go to the beach, or I go inland and go for a bushwalk. So I prioritize myself in those moments and taking care of me and the little vulnerable part of me before I create anything. Because I have for me personally, I have a belief that if I create from fight, flight, or shutdown, I'm out of alignment and it's going to have consequences.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like you kind of
Yeah.
shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it, and it's not, look, it's not like we can do that all the time, because there's going to be times when I'll have fear in me and be doing something at the same time. And what we do when that happens, it's to honor what's happening within us. So let's say that you've got a job you need to go to, so, and you feel like, you just don't feel good that day, you feel like you're in shutdown. I will be with that part of myself that doesn't want to go to work, acknowledge it and tell it, I will, when we get home tonight, we're going to rest. We're going to just get into comfy clothes, sit on the couch, have a warm meal, and I will nurture that part later if I need to. Because obviously we've got to work sometimes. We've got to like do the things that we're responsible to do with responsibilities. So we can't always not function from those spaces. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you have a choice in to take care of yourself first, where you're not at work and you don't need to go to a meeting or something like that, do that first. Let's say you're at work and you need to go to a meeting, or like you need to work and you've got clients, then I would really acknowledge that part of myself and be like, I hear you, I see you, and I'm going to be with you. We're going to get this done, and then I'm going to be with you. So it's kind of like you're letting that part of you know that you will be there for them once you've got this thing done.
Yeah. Practice.
Yeah, it's a bit of a practice. So now that you're feeling, feeling good, you're at the top of the ladder, how do you feel about your goal? So like what you're working towards?
Uh, like I say that I'm at the top of the ladder, but I know I need to rest because I've just been through a lot. But
Right.
I haven't, like you say, like step by step, I haven't really got to that yet, but I know that it's coming.
Well, the step that you're taking actually is rest.
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
of the steps.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Goals
that's
for
great.
me, I don't know, goals for me have always been like a bit icky. Like I just see it as like an outcome, and I don't really like to function thinking that it's over there. I kind of want to just come from a place of just trust and let it unfold without having this big label of a goal in the distance, because that stresses me out.
What's the stress that comes up with that?
Like it just feels, it's like so far away, and it's the thoughts of not getting there, or not achieving it, or it's like the limiting kind of beliefs that come in when I put a goal together. I don't even like that word.
Right? You can use intention, but what I like to do when I've got an activation towards a word is explore it too, because I always think it's a signal. But what why I talk about goals and intention, even though it can be icky for people, is because it gives you clarity, and it depends how you create the goal. A lot of people do create it like, I need to achieve that to be happy, and that's not how I create goals. It's more about bringing in the feeling state that you want in your everyday life, and then that
Maybe I
goal will
have
be
to learn more about like how to reshape my idea of what goals are.
definitely. And so, but then the other part is knowing that when it feels so far away, you're right. That's why I do the one step at a time. But what a goal does, the really cool thing about a goal is it's a focus of it. You connect it with your values, and it help. And what I mean by that, your values are what are important to you. So you connect it with that. So any decision you make, you go, is that one step closer to my goal? And so it's not about shaming if you don't get it. It's not about having to be an overachiever or anything like that. It's more around giving you direction when you're making decisions. So when I'm making a decision to work for that company, when I'm making a decision to go on this health program, when I'm making a decision to be in this
When
relationship.
it's a firm like no in your mind that it's not aligning with your values, should you just put a cut to it? Like, should you just?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
This is why a goal's good, because what it is it may be meeting a different need. So if you're so let's say like you're working towards a goal and you're in a job that's not really aligned with that goal, but what it's doing is it's giving you an income to put food on the table, to pay your bills, and to help you achieve the goal. It's still the resource because it's got the finances that are coming in. But what you can do is you can say to yourself, okay, what would be the next stepping stone here? What would be, that's where like it would be an individual process. If I stay here, am I able, does this support my nervous system? So how I look at it is the stepping stone, does it support my nervous system? Am I learning something new? Is it resourceful because it's helping me pay the bills? Like, so there's things that it's probably helping you with.
Yeah.
But this is why goals, like I know I talk about them all the time, but this is why they're helpful, because if you've got that bigger picture, then you do the steps, the aligned steps, and trusting that. So that's when the trust comes in. If we don't have the bigger picture, our decisions can be a little bit like here and there, and then we can be like, go in that direction or that direction or that direction, because you can go so many different directions when you're making decisions. But a goal gives you the chance to go it's like it's taking full responsibility, like, oh, I can do this, I've got this, and trusting.
Because I'm like doing a bit of support work, and I know that like some of the clients that I have, it just doesn't like align with my values, but I'm still showing up to do it because it's like, yeah, a bit of money in my account, and I guess I'm learning from those people that I am supporting. But yeah, then it's like, when is that done? Like, yeah, you know?
When is what, like, when will, like, I don't know how long I want to be in it for.
When will I decide that, okay, that's it now? Like,
That's it, right? And so that's why if you had a goal around, okay, like what you want to create, you would have these steps where you're like, when I earn this amount of money, or when I create this and I get this many clients, depending on what you're doing. If you're creating a business, you're going for another job, but you have those steps afterwards. So a stepping stone, I have that there in place because I know what's after it. And so that's why it's that clarity with goals. But I guess what I would work with you around is first is the resistance around having a goal. Because that's what needs to be heard. There's a part of you that probably,
there's like blockages for sure.
yeah, because it wasn't fun probably when you were young to achieve goals, or you may have been shamed around not achieving, or those sort of things. So
well,
I
like
would
you said, like not encouraged and not supported, like those are the biggest things, and yeah, that plays a big part.
Yep, and feeling alone in it, and feeling as though that's going to be a slog or something like that. So I think working for you would be working on that part first, to be like, what does that part need? What does it want to say? Maybe there's an emotional process that we could do on it. And then from there, that would be from there, go into the goal and the steps. So with all parts being heard.
Yeah. Thank you.
That makes sense. You're welcome. Okay, so what I would love to finish off with is both of your takeaways from today.
Well, mine would be just step by step. And yeah, just trusting like the process that's unfolding, and that each small part is getting you to, another kind of level to where you want to be.
Great. Thank you, Sophia. And Kate, what would yours be?
I had here, if I feel like I'm procrastinating, slow down, ground, and investigate, because it could be a multitude of reasons why I feel like that, and it may not actually be procrastinating. It might be that I just need to rest, or maybe I am, and why is that? What's happening with whatever that thing is that I'm feeling like I'm not getting done.
I think you're spot on.
Hey.
See, you both know the answers.
Well, I could actually
Thank you.
do it.
Yeah, honestly, it's a practice.
Yeah.
And it is a practice for shifting these things. So I'm so glad you both joined me today, and have a beautiful Monday. I'll see you in your session. I'll see you in your next sessions. All right, bye.
Bye.